Welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. We're digging the plugs and pinpointing the topics you want to hear.
And now, here's your hosts, Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen.
This show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP Metal Detectors is a high-end, innovative metal detector company with great machines and great pinpointers. For more information, go to xpmetaldetectors.com. For a dealer near you, try a Google search or go to xpdeus-usa.com. Hello and welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kimball, coming to you from Central Oklahoma, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Grant Hansen, who's not coming to you from New Jersey. Where are you at now, Grant?
I am up in Plattsburgh, New York right now for Pound the Ground, and it is cold. I left New Jersey, it was 90 degrees, and 4.5 hours later in New York, it's 50 degrees.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a temperature change. Yeah, you said it was a 4-hour drive?
Yeah, a little bit over 4 hours, and I wasn't expecting that drastic of a change, but yeah, we're well equipped with layers and layers of clothes, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, over here it was about almost 98 degrees today, so it was pretty warm today.
Wow.
In October at that. I got a little chihuahua back here like barking his little head off today, so you might be hearing him bark.
That's fine. He's probably excited about the heat wave.
Yeah. So today we're recording this is Wednesday, so tomorrow's Thursday. What are you going to be doing? What's on your agenda for this whole thing? When's it start? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be hunting around and getting with the other guys and just doing some metal detecting while you're out there, or what do you got planned?
Yeah, we'll get a little detecting in. Our priority is to man the XP Metal Detectors booth. We're going to set that up tomorrow. There is a forecast of rain, so we want to make sure we get all the setup done as much as we can before the rain comes in. Then if we have the opportunity, we'll detect some local property in the afternoon. Gary Blackwell is with us. He just got in from England, so he's going to be with us all weekend at the tent. He's going to be doing skills schools and demos. So, hopefully I'll get a chance to get out there and detect an actual Pound the Ground event as well, maybe a couple hours here and there. But for most part, we'll probably be at the tent making sure we answer questions and being good ambassadors.
Yeah, I am jealous. I am really jealous. That sounds like a blast. I saw Sonia posted some pictures, and she was off at the airport with Gary and waiting for a plane. I guess they met up at the airport and flew together, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think they both had a layover in D.C., and then they were on the same flight out up into New York to get here. She had, I guess they both had some interesting travel. It seemed like the plane they were on was left over from when Pan Am was in business. It still had cigarette ashtrays in the seats, and it was having some mechanical issues. But luckily, they got here safe and sound.
Yeah, I didn't have too much good luck whenever I traveled going up towards Iowa. That was not fun. I was laid over at the airport for 12 hours. I mean, she got laid over for maybe an hour, was it? Maybe two?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3, but yeah, not as bad. It took you almost like a day and a half to get out there. That was crazy.
Yeah. And the bad thing about it is I had to fly back the other way before I could fly that way, and that's where I got stranded.
That's just maddening. Yeah. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll get some time with Gary because, I've met him in England before, and I know what English fields are like, and they can be beautiful, they can be junky, they can have like stalks and things like that. But I would like to see what he's like on an old home site or on an American property and see what kind of tips he has to offer.
Yeah, I know a lot of the English guys. A lot of them are really fascinated with American history, and they love to find stuff from American history. But some of them out there are like, oh well, that's just some new stuff right there, and you find stuff from 1700s, and it's new to them. So hopefully he has a blast and he finds stuff that he finds really interesting. And I think he's pretty fascinated with American history.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people in England are interested in the Civil War more than the Revolutionary War. I think that's just kind of based on the conversations I've had. But I think, there's people, you're right. They say, oh, it's modern if it's from the 1700s. But I think there are others, like history is relative to where you are. So, what happened in that area. And isn't meaningful.
Right. Yeah. I just hope he's fascinated with the stuff that he finds, and he go home and make him a case. So this is my American finds.
Right. Exactly. I think he will. I think he'll have a good time.
Yeah. I'd love to go up there and hunt with him. I think that'd be a blast. You can always learn stuff from him and everything else. He's full of knowledge, and he would be a great person to hunt with.
Yeah, and he's so relaxed too. You watch his videos. A friend and I were talking about it. Just his voice. He's very calming and reassuring. So kind of just adds to the why we go out and to detect to relax, right, and to get away. So I think he'd be a good influence for that.
Right. Yeah, and I think they're going to be displaying their new XP backpacks that they're going to have, and they're going to be have all kinds of stuff. It'd be very interesting to see all that.
Yeah, I'm very anxious to see that. I came up here with the XP hard case, and it's the first time I got to really use it in a real way, and it's just like, it's awesome. It's this little light thing. Everything fits in it, from 2 coils, a pinpointer, and the whole machine. So I'm excited to see what the backpack has.
Oh, yes. I got 3 coils crammed in my hard case. So I got that.
It's great.
The big coil, the 11-inch coil, and then I got the 9-inch elliptical in there. And they, it kind of, you got to like cram it shut, but it's fitting in there.
Yeah. And if anyone's listening to this and you are at Pound the Ground this weekend, make sure you stop by the XP tent. We're going to have activities all weekend long. We'll do some giveaways. We'll have a test garden there where you can try out the machines and see what the signals sound like. And Gary's going to do some demos, especially one on that'll benefit you if you're going to do the seated hunt, a real fast program on getting those targets quick.
Oh, yes. And let me remind everybody, you don't have to be an XP user. I mean, stop by there anyways. There's a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting people there. You'll learn a lot just metal detecting altogether.
Yep, absolutely. And, I've got, I don't know how many Facebook friends that I've never met in person. It'll be a great opportunity to meet some people that I've talked to before.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot of people from a lot of states up there. There's even people in my club were talking about going up there. I'm not sure if they made it or not, but they were talking about going. Hopefully they did.
Well, if I see anyone from Oklahoma, I'll let you know.
Yeah, they probably know me, Today we got Pete Sorrell, and he's going to be back on. He's going to be talking a little bit about his adventure at the Detectival, and he's also going to be talking a little more about the Pound the Ground.
Yeah, I'm excited to speak to Pete. He just got back from maybe the world's largest organized rally at Detectival, and now he's hosting America's largest rally here in the U.S. So I want to hear what his thoughts are about both those rallies and how perhaps something overseas might compare to what's going on in America here.
Yeah, okay. Well, you ready to get the show going?
I am ready. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with Pete Sorrell.
Check us out online at xpdeus-usa.com.
If you are looking for more information about XP products such as dealers or updates, then check out MetalDetectorsAmericas.com.
Hello, this is Daniel from XP Metal Detectors Americas, and I just wanted to let you know about the XP Metal Detectors Americas.com website, which is full of information on the AUS metal detector and the ORX metal detector. Both are wireless and do all aspects of metal detecting, which is gold prospecting, coins, jewelry, and relics.
We'd like to welcome back Pete Sorrell to the show. Pete is an XP Team USA member out of upstate New York and is helping organize this year's Pound to the Ground. Welcome back to the show, Pete.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you guys having me back on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we have tons to talk about tonight. Yes, we definitely want to talk about Pound the Ground. We want to hear about your experience at Detectival, organized rallies in general. And lastly, but certainly not least, we want to hear all about your pine tree shilling. Should be a fun night. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
So let's start talking about organized digs, whether a private club dig or rather a large rally. Have you done any in the past?
Yeah, actually, I've been to quite a few in the past. Every year, our club actually puts on a club picnic, which is a seated dig. And I've also done the penguin digs here on the East Coast with Doug Bowden and Awesome Relics New England. And then this year, before I started setting up for this Pound the Ground event here in New York, my first really big seated hunt was actually with the Pound the Ground team down in Rhode Island.
All right.
Nice. And Dave, your club just had an organized day. That was just really recently, right? How was that?
Oh, yeah. Last weekend. It was pretty fun. Yeah, I put it together. I worked on it all year long, and we got a lot of stuff to give away, and we had a lot of people there, and everybody had fun. We had chili cook-offs. We had tons of prizes, a bunch of metal detectors we gave away, and yeah, everybody had pretty fun.
Yeah, it sounds like, the Pound the Ground is going to be my first American organized dig, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, we hope it's a good. We've been planning a long time for this, and it's finally everything's coming to fruition here in less than a week. So it's coming up fast.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the organized dig a little bit. You got a seated hunts or natural hunts. What are your preferences?
So personally, my personal preferences are natural hunts. I'm not a big seated hunt guy, but I understand the draw, especially here in the United States. Sometimes it's hard to get permission on really historic property. So when somebody's able to get a huge permission for other people to detect on, an event like this allows people who don't otherwise have the opportunity to take on this type of land that opportunity.
Right. Yeah. See, seated hunts, everybody would rather do a natural hunt. Seated hunts are just mainly turning a hobby into a sport. How do you turn a hobby into a sport? I mean, you got to make it competitive, fast, quick. Everybody's got to be before everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how seated hunts come in. I mean, that's like a once a year kind of thing. People kind of get together and do that. And it's pretty fun chance to win stuff and try to pick up as much as you can, as fast as you can, and be, I guess it gets you a little bit conditioned for even finding good stuff in natural hunts, because you've got a lot of people around. You want to be quick at it and get your target and move on to find the next target before somebody else finds it, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's definitely something. Everybody has their preference. I think I look at seated hunt kind of as like everybody gets a prize.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. But the way I look at it is, if you go to a seated hunt, you're paying to find targets that you may not otherwise have an opportunity to find.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I'm with you. I much prefer natural hunts. A couple of weeks ago, I would have said I have no interest in a seated hunt, but I must say, when I saw that pile of silver with a gold nugget here and there, that was only half of what's going into the ground at Pound the Ground. I was like, maybe I need to rethink this a little bit. That looks like it's going to be a pretty good seated hunt.
Yeah, and it's funny. Not a lot of seated hunt. Everybody usually does like Merck and Franklin halves and Washington quarters. But we wanted to do something a little different, so it cost us a little bit more money. But we went for a lot of the really good old coins we wanted to put in the ground.
Speaking of organized digs, you went out to England this year and went over to Detectival. How was that experience?
Detectival is a great experience. I mean, I got to meet a lot of great people from all over the world. The camaraderie among metal detectorists is the same there as it is here. Most people are extremely friendly. They're willing to talk to you about their finds. I just had a great time. I also got to meet the inventor of our metal detector, Elaine Lubay, and he was a very, very nice guy. Got to do a little technical talk with him, which was really cool. So stuff like that gives you the opportunity to go out on some extremely historic property and have the opportunity to find stuff from Roman times all the way up to modern day.
So did you actually get to detect at Detectival, or was it more like a social thing for you?
I was kind of both. We had some meetings that we had to make with some of the manufacturers for Pound the Ground, but we also did get to do hunting. And it's hard because it's kind of the same way here. I feel like it's going to be the same way here for our hunters. There's so much property, and it's historic land, but it's a crapshoot as to if you're going to come over one of those historic pieces. So the three of us from the Pound the Ground team were out there for 6 or 7 hours, and we came back with 5 pieces of lead and a couple pieces of aluminum foil. So I don't know if we were just on the wrong field or what, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But in general, the experience was what we went for, not so much the metal detecting.
And you did the right thing. Before Detectival, you actually wound up meeting up with a few people who took you out on their permissions, and you found some pretty good stuff before the event even happened. What were some of the kinds of things you found, and what were your best finds?
So, yeah, we met up with the guys from Joan Allen Metal Detecting, which is one of the largest metal detecting distributors in England. And those guys took us out onto some incredible fields, and they do these different rallies all the time. So they took us out to some historic fields, and we were running on probably 30 plus hours of no sleep, and we didn't care. We just went at it. And we found some pretty incredible things. That first day, we all ended up with Roman, and I ended up with hammered coins from the 1300s and some Roman fibulas. Oh my God, we just came up with some crazy fun.
That's awesome. And I know being out there, like every time you put the spade in the ground, like just because we're from the United States, like there's just so much more potential for us to get excited over something. And I imagine it's probably going to be the same for the people of Pound the Ground, especially if they're coming from the Midwest or out further where they don't actually have that opportunity to find something colonial, seeded coins, things like that. Just knowing that opportunity exists, it adds a whole level of excitement.
That's for sure. Yeah, and when we were there, it's funny because in the U.S. you're conditioned not to dig a lot of those mixed signals unless you're specifically searching for like gold or something that has a low conductivity. You're like, that's a piece of garbage, I'm not going to dig it. But in England, it's the complete opposite. You have to dig all those low targets because a lot of the coins are smaller than the tip of your finger. Some of the Roman coins and those very thin silver hammered coins come up so low.
Yeah. While you were out there at Detectival, did you learn anything out there that would help you with your Pound of the Ground rally?
Yeah, I mean, we got to speak with a lot of the people. We got to see a lot of the different things that they do with their organization. And some of the things that they do we like, and some of the things that they do we aren't so keen on. But that's what that was for us was a learning experience. See how a detecting rally of that size is put on. And we did learn a few things, and hopefully we can put those into action here at our event and go forward from there.
Yeah, that's great. And can you remind us, how did you get involved with Rhode Island Relics, and how did you get involved in helping organize Pound the Ground?
Well, about, I don't know, it was in March or April, I took myself and a couple of friends down to the Pound the Ground seeded hunt in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And while there, I ran into Nathan Matthews, but the only words that I said to him were hello and thanks for putting this on. And that was the first time that I had spoke to him about anything, and that was it. And it was about a month later after I returned that he called me up and said, you know, I have this crazy idea to put on the largest metal detecting event in the United States, but I need a good property. You know, would you be able to see if there was something that we could work together with? And I said, sure. And it was probably 2 days later, I contacted one of my farmers. He said, yeah, I think we can do that. And it's gone from there.
Yeah, all right. So why don't you tell us about the new backpack that we saw there on XP page? I know I saw you out there playing with it a little bit on that video. That's a pretty cool looking backpack. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, that thing is pretty awesome. I'd say that those designers and the guys that they got out there testing it really did their homework on that thing. It's basically a fully all-in-one, pack that you can put all of your metal detecting gear into. I mean, it's just comprehensive. The idea and the planning that went into that thing is just amazing because they thought of just about everything. They've got places for 2 coils, they've got your stem, they've got your shovel, they got food, water, they've got a rain cover, mean, that thing is sweet.
Nice.
And rumor has it that it's going to make its way over to the U.S. to be showcased at Pound the Ground.
Yep.
You
So
know-
we're going to have, I talked to our special guest who's going to be at Pound the Ground as well, Gary Blackwell, and he said he was going to make sure that we had a couple of prototypes over at our event.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they won't be on sale for a couple more months, but we'll get to see them firsthand and maybe even use them in the field a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the release date looking like? Did they mention anything, or did they just kind of give it a broad couple months? Or?
Yeah, we said later this year or early next year, and the price point is going to be somewhere around $150. But there was word of maybe we developed making two different ones at different price points.
Okay. Yeah. So would you say you got a lot more room in the backpack than you would on a hard case?
Oh, for sure. I think it's a lot easier if you're going to be bringing it somewhere accessible. Carrying that hard case, this backpack typically encompasses everything you need, whereas the hard case is mostly for just the machine and some accessories. This will take care of everything.
And from what I saw in the pictures, it looks like it's just about the same size as a carry-on bag. Did it seem that way to you?
I would say it's slightly bigger. It's kind of tall, and when it's fully loaded, though, you really don't even realize. I mean, the dais is a very light metal detector, so I'd really say the biggest weight when it's on your back is like if you had a shovel or something in it.
I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
Yeah, really. I mean, it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty cool. Well, back to the Pound of the Ground event. I heard it's going to be a pretty big event. Last I heard, over 900 people signed up. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, we're looking at over 900 people, which is pretty amazing because I think the largest rallies here in the U.S. typically only have around 500 participants, maybe. So this is going to be the largest one that I've seen. I don't know. I can't even remember another one that was bigger than this. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I know we have people from, I believe, if not all 50 states, close to all 50 states, a couple of different countries. We're getting one heck of a turnout, I'm sure.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I saw people saying, "Oh, I'm coming all the way out from California." I was like, "Wow, there's going to be so many people coming from all different places." Oh, what other countries? You mentioned some people from other countries are coming. Do you know specifically which countries, other than obviously Gary is coming from England?
I actually don't think Gary is the only one coming from England. I think there may be other folks coming in from England. We also have a bunch of people from our lovely neighbors to North Canada, especially because the event is quite close to Quebec, and the access is a lot easier. And then I believe we have a couple coming from south of the border as well.
Wow, great. And there's going to be so much going on. I mean, I don't know everything that's going to be going on. I just know that what we're focused on with XP Team USA. And if you're listening, it's right before. If you're at the event, make sure you stop by our tent and our area. We're going to have a test garden where you can try out a dais or an ORX. Gary Blackwell is going to be there, like Pete said. He's going to be showing some different things, especially like if you're doing that seated hunt and want to find some stuff quickly. He's going to show you a great program for that. We're going to be doing activities, giveaways all weekend long. Pete, what might people not know that they think they know everything? Like anything else that I didn't mention in that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got a lot of great things going on, and we wanted to make this an experience, not just about the detecting, but about the camaraderie that we have with other detectorists. We really wanted this to be like a giant networking event as well. So people from all over the country who all enjoy the same hobby, who may not ever get to see these people they see on YouTube, they're going to be there. Those folks are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be out there enjoying fun. You can get their autographs. We're going to have some good food, local beer. We've got a couple of different things that are kind of draw the public in, as well as be nice for our participants as well.
Wow.
Like we've got a Civil War reenactment camp that's going to be to the side of the main event venue, and they're going to be there on Saturday. And then we also brought in St. Andrew's Pipe and Drum Band out of Vermont. So I think that's going to be great to have that extra stuff along with all the manufacturers. And I can't even tell you how much stuff we're giving away. I can literally tell you we've been getting pallets and pallets of stuff that is going to be given away by all these manufacturers, and it's amazing.
Wow, yeah. Good food, beer, and metal detecting. Sounds like a blast.
Right. And for the giveaway, there's going to be raffle tickets that people can buy for that?
Yeah. So one of the main things that we want to do this year is something a little different. And so we asked each of the manufacturers to put together a all-inclusive metal detector package. And now what we asked for was a metal detector, a pinpointer, a shovel, and any other accessories they wanted to include, and a bunch of swag. And so one of the things that we're going to be raffling off there, this is going to be an additional ticket or you would buy, but you have the opportunity to literally get a full detector package from each of the manufacturers. So we're going to have one from each manufacturer.
So just how much preparation is going into this event? Can you put it in words?
I can tell you countless hours, countless days. It's been 6 months or 7 months since we started planning this. So it's pretty amazing from two guys talking about throwing something like this together to actually being a week away from this and actually seeing all of our fruits come to fruition, I guess, most of our labor.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I'm sure everyone's going to appreciate it. Everyone's going to have a great time. Your hard work is going to really pay off. So thank you in advance. We're really excited for it.
Yeah, my hope is that everyone has a great time. I mean, like any hunt, you never know what's out there. I have extremely high hopes that people are going to find some amazing things out there. But the truth of the matter is, not everybody will find amazing things, but you will find great friendship, lots of cool things to see, and it's just going to be a great time all around.
It's great.
And we'll be back right after this with Pete Sorrell.
This is Michael from XP Metal Detectors Americas. Be sure to check out the new XP ORX metal detector, models starting at $649.
XP has introduced its new ORX machine, a high-end machine at a mid-range price. The ORX has 4 factory preset programs, 2 gold, 2 coins, also 2 user programs. The ORX comes with a high-frequency coil and is compatible with the X35 coils. The ORX is now available in the USA. And we're back with Pete Sorrell.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute. I want to talk to you because I'm jealous, I'll be honest with you. I want to hear everything about the holiest of holy grails of U.S. design. You found a pine tree shilling silver coin. All right, let me just first, what kind of property you were on? What kind of property were you on? What was it like?
So I'll just say this. I mean, a lot of this, when you metal detect, sometimes it's about the people you meet. And luckily, a few months back, I met 2 great guys named Alex Met and Chris Tracy out of Connecticut and Rhode Island. And these guys took me in and invited me down to their home turf and were very gracious enough to allow me to hunt with them. And all I can say is it'll be a time I never forget. So the property we were on was a 1740 standing home in Rhode Island. And we were told that it was once owned by a Revolutionary War captain or something. And there were stories of the first house built in the town in the 1650s was just up the hill from where we were. So we went out there. We were out there all day. We found some interesting things. A large cent had come up, a 2-cent piece, musket ball, a couple of odds and ends, nice things. And then I wasn't having a huge amount of luck. So right next door to the house was a small field that was owned by the same property owner. And 3 weeks prior, Alex and 2 other guys had scoured that field for hours. But as you all know, nothing is ever hunted out. So I made my way over to that field. The first signal I dug was a crushed aluminum can about 4 feet from the side of the road. And I said, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to keep going. My next signal was a very faint signal on the day I but it was very repeatable. And I dug about a foot down and recovered a colonial shoe buckle.
Oh, nice.
So my hopes got back up again. I was like, oh, maybe I'm on the right path. Next signal was about 8 inches deep, another crushed aluminum can. So I thought, man, this is either going to make me or break me. And at that time, Alex yelled over to me. He said, hey, Pete, we got to be out of here by 3 o'clock. And I said, okay, I'm going to hurry up and see what else I can find. The next signal I got was a flat button about 7 inches deep. And then I looked down at my clock and my watch, and it said 2:54. So I knew whatever the next signal was going to be my last pull of the day. So I started walking back towards the road, and I got this really great signal, but it sounded kind of similar to those crushed aluminum kinks I had dug earlier. But I've always got this mantra, especially on very old sites, is if I don't dig it, I might regret it. And if I do dig it and it's a piece of garbage, at least I got it out of the ground. So I chose to dig it, and about 7 or 8 inches down, I flipped the plug. I looked down in the hole, and at first I thought it was a button because it was very dark. And I picked it up, and I saw that year 1652, and in that moment, I knew exactly what I had. I dropped it back in the hole, and I freaked out and yelled and jumped and screamed. And I had the guys come over and revel in what I had just discovered. It was a moment I will definitely never forget.
Yeah, nice. So you were walking back. You were walking back right before you dug that, right? That's kind of like in the fishing world, just one last cast.
Yep. I mean, how many times are we all out there going, one more hole, one more hole?
Right, yeah.
Right. Did your emotions go from like, oh, it's something dark, it's a button, and like, yeah, it could be kind of cool, and then all of a sudden, once you realize it, boom, a spike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, and it's funny, is the night before, we had dug some stuff from the early 1700s, and we were all joking about finding a 3 coin. And, he's like, oh, we'll probably get you on some sites that date back to the 1600s. We all had a good laugh, they're out there, and these guys can tell you that they're out there. They've seen one dug in person, but it's skill and a lot of luck. I can tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure all your buddies out there are pretty jealous. Did that gain a couple extra hours of metal detecting time there?
Actually, that was my last day there, and I had to head back the next morning. But it was probably the best shortest metal detecting trip I've ever had in my life. It was one of those things that when somebody invites you, well, I feel this way. When I invite someone to a site, my hope is that I hope I don't find all the good stuff. I hope they find just as amazing. And, it's almost like a lot of pressure for them to find something. And when they don't, terrible. But, these guys were the most gracious. They said all these nice things to me. Like, if it were anybody else, I don't know if I would have been so happy, but it was you and you're a great guy. And, that makes you feel good. But at the same token, you're like, man, I hope the next time we go out, they find one of those.
Right. You do feel that, not necessarily a responsibility, but a genuine hope that the people you're out detecting with find some stuff that are good.
Yeah. And that's every time. I'm not a selfish person. I really want everybody to enjoy the hobby as much as I do, and part of that is getting on some good sites and getting some great targets.
So can you tell us anything about the coin itself, like the condition, the variety, anything that you learned after you took it out of the hole?
Yeah. So funny enough, I never even had this on my bucket list because it was so rare and out there. I just never thought I'd be in a place or have an opportunity to dig one. So I learned a lot of information about the coin after I found it. Alex Metz, the guy that took me with him to these sites, and Chris Tracy, they knew a lot about these coins. And after we found it, they had a lot of books and information on it. So I can tell you that it's a No 13, I think is the variety, or no, it's a No 7. I honestly can't remember. It's a special variety. It's a large planchet. somewhere between 1667 and 1675. And then after that, they went to a small planchet coin. And based on the type that I have, it is one of 13 known. And it's somewhere between very fine and extremely fine condition.
Oh, nice. That is very nice. So are you going to get that graded or send it off? What are you going to do with it exactly?
I've actually talked to a lot of experts, and they said that in the future, if I ever decide to get rid of it, which I probably won't, they said that colonial coin collectors would rather not have it in a case. So that was the advice I took initially. But now I'm getting it just put in a slab as graded, and it's not being graded, it's just being authenticated as a genuine example. That way it's preserved in a way that I feel less likely to lose it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned it earlier, I believe, the commemorative shovel made while you were out in England. Can you tell us about that shovel?
Yeah, so there's a guy out in England. His name is Alan Bumstead. He owns a little side business called Optimus Spades. And my friend Kevin Whitmore from England, who runs the ORX UK detecting group on Facebook, he put me in touch with him, and I had this idea for a shovel where it had a front and back picture of my particular coin with the die crack and everything, and it says when I discovered the coin, and then on the back it has my logo for Adirondack Detecting. And he said, I don't know. He says, I'm going to try my best to get it done so I don't have to ship it to America. And when I arrived in England, Kevin Whitmore gave it to me. And the guy does some amazing work. If you ever get the chance to check him out, it's called Optimus Spades, and it's on Facebook. And all of the crazy designs are on there. They're amazing.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty nice. Is that a mirror finish stainless, or is that chromed, or what is that exactly?
It's stainless. Yeah, it's a stainless shovel, and it's a very, very high quality shovel. This exchange rate, I think, came out to somewhere around $120 to be made, which seems unreal considering the amount of work that he puts into these. And they're just beautiful. And at first I wasn't going to use it because it was so beautiful. But going to England, I did not bring my big shovel with me, and my little shovel was really wearing on my back. So I said, you know what? I said, this is made by my English friends. I will only use this shovel while in England.
Yeah,
and that's what I did. So I got home, polished it back up, and now it sits on my wall.
Yeah, it is a pretty nice shovel. I was looking at it.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the commemorative things you get when you get a new baby, right? A baby born, like, oh, this time, this date, this weight,
yeah.
You've got the shovel commemorating your pine tree.
So you need to get that.
I mean, with a metal detector, I mean, the way I look at it is probably when the coin comes back from authentication, I'm going to put it in a safety deposit box. As much as that sounds crazy, for me, it's a safety net. And so this will, remind me every day that I actually dug that coin, and hopefully I never forget it in that safety deposit box.
All right. Yeah. So you need to get a replica of the coin itself made, and then you can put it in a case and hang it right next to the shovel.
There you go. That would be the thing to do.
Well, I hope you're not jaded now if you're going to find like, oh, it's just a seated coin, or it's just a real. Yeah.
It's funny. Since finding that, I still think to myself, every time somebody comes up to me and says, you're that guy that found that really rare coin, and for a couple seconds I'm like, what are they talking about? I almost forget for a few seconds.
Almost forget why he's wearing a T-shirt that has it on it, and he's has a shovel in his hand that has it on it, and his hat.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So you didn't pony that up for the seated hunt for Pound the Ground?
No, I considered it, but I didn't want it to get lost out there.
Right.
What do you think the value of that coin is?
That coin in particular has a value somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000.
Nice.
Great. Fantastic. Well, huge congrats. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So, like I said, I'm jealous, but I'm very happy for you.
Well, definitely, you guys will all see pictures. Pound the Ground. I will have the complete recollection of of how it all happened. I'm sure I will regale in that story many times during the weekend.
Oh yeah. Well, Pete, it was great talking to you, and got some good information about both Detectival and Pound the Ground. And I know everybody is really looking forward to Pound the Ground, and we're glad to hear that you had a blast out there at Detectival.
Well, it was great talking to you guys. It was a pleasure, basically regaling those stories. And every time I do something like those events, I just get happier and happier that I got into this hobby. And it's guys like you that do these shows that also help grow the hobby. And thank you so much for having me on again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, thanks, and we'll have you on again for sure. And if anyone who's listening is at Pound the Ground this weekend, please stop by the XP Team USA tent. I will be there. A bunch of other of our teammates will be there. Pete will be there, but he'll be all over the place because this is his event. So I'm sure he won't be tied to one spot. But we really look forward to meeting you and saying hi and maybe giving you some swag.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you again some other time, Pete.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Pete. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you have a question for one of our guests or just like to make a comment, call us at our XP Team USA podcast hotline at 405-294-3602.
XP Metal Detectors now introduces the new X35 search coils. Designed around a brand new electronic advances, these new high-performance and versatile coils will allow you to choose from a wide range of frequencies, ranging from 3.7 kHz to 27.7 kHz. In total, there are 35 available frequencies based around 5 main frequencies that are quickly accessible. A new boost mode is now an option on frequencies 3.7 kHz to 4.4 kHz and can significantly increase detection depth on highly conductive targets such as large masses and large silver coins. The new X35 search coils will now be available as option as the same price as the previous coils, and also now will be standard with the brand new Deus. So get your X35 today. All right, we're back, and that was Pete Sorrell. What a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, I love talking to Pete. I can't wait to meet him in person this weekend. It's going to be a blast. And, I'm so happy for him with that pine tree shilling, but incredibly jealous. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. You see that short video that Gary Blackwell posted with Pete Sorrell out there at Detectival? He was showing off the backpack and all that, just full of energy and life.
Yeah, he was a great, I think Nathan said, you should be a car salesman or something like that. Yeah, he was full of energy, and I'm sure he's going to bring that into the weekend, so it should be a good time.
Yeah, he'll have a blast. Yeah, I'm sure everybody will have a blast out there.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll do a recap, and we'll let everybody know what our experience was on our next show.
Don't forget to go on YouTube and check out Gary Blackwell at Skill School. He's got a lot of great information, a lot of stuff that you didn't even think about asking. You'll learn from Gary while watching his videos and about the Deus and the ORX too.
Yeah, even, they're great for new users of the machines, but also experienced users. I go back from time to time and rewatch things just to re-educate myself on all the different settings and functions. Really quality videos and very educational.
Right. And that's good to do. I mean, really, because first time you learn it, you might not retain everything. And then you go out and use it and you just kind of learn a little bit yourself. And then you go back and you watch it again. And then a lot of that stuff that you missed, you pick up and you think, okay, that's why this and that's why that.
Exactly. I mean, even if it's a new program, when I went beach hunting over the summer on wet sand, he had a video on settings. And I said, all right, perfect. Watched it, set my machine, and it was good to go.
All right. Also, go check out Josh Kimmel on his Beyond Sight and Sound podcast every Sunday and Wednesday.
Every Sunday and Wednesday, they go live at 8 p.m. So look for him on Spreaker, Beyond Sight and Sound.
Right. It's a great podcast. I try to listen to it as much as I can. I've just been really busy lately, and I need to get on there and jump in the chat, because the chat is very active all the time, and a lot of people are on there, and they get together and chit-chat. Great crowd.
It is. When I get on there and I start saying my hellos, I mean, it's so active, it's hard to keep up. So really good community of listeners he's got.
All right, well, we'll be back on October 18th, and join us then, and we'll see you.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Get that permission, put the coil to the soil, and we'll see you next time right here on the XP Team USA podcast.